So
well, I mean, yeah. So we were just talking about wax prices and things and the market in general, and like Corey's like making Contessa laugh at the fact that wax is 10 cents, right?
That's my life anyway. I'm usually like that, shaking back and forth with everything on fire in the background.
All right, we're best friends then.
This is nothing new. But,
right? It's like we're that meme of the dog that in the room that's on fire. Like that's
exactly
where we live.
I think we all are at this point.
So yeah, well, welcome back to the show. I mean, this is the first time you guys have ever met. We got tons of stuff to cover. I'm not sure where you want to start, but we're definitely going to talk about you did something really cool with your project, so we'll get a little recap about that. I want to hear some dating stories. Apparently you have some of those for me, which is pretty sweet, which is really fun. And I just want to talk about market sentiment in general. So if you don't know who Contessa is, you do this kind of interesting thing that not very many people do, but everybody does. But you do it in your own kind of special way, and it has to do with the promotion of things in the crypto market to people that don't really know about it or how to promote them. So maybe if you could just give us a quick overview of your project.
Right, and so I realized that a lot of people who are content creators, a lot of people who are on Facebook and on TikTok, really don't understand or realize how they can use NFTs and crypto in their business. So they're out there creating all this content on these platforms that are just basically using and abusing them. Like, we know what Facebook does and how they handle their content creators. And so what I did was I created a platform where I'm just kind of hold them by their hand and show them, look, this really isn't that much different than what you're used to doing. And it's really easy to go over from Web 2 to Web 3. So the hardest thing is getting people to make that small little switch, because we all know that sometimes going into Web 3 can be a little intimidating, right? We were just talking backstage about the state of, of crypto right now. And so a lot of people kind of in my audience, they're afraid to dip their toes in the crypto pool. And so I try to make it as easy as possible for them to go ahead and get started. Like, sometimes you don't even need a crypto wallet to get started, right? And so just kind of breaking down some of those barriers to entry. And that's where I had the problem with the Pomelo loans, right?
Yeah, so Corey doesn't really know about this, but Contessa was supposed to be on my Pomelo pitch deck show. But she canceled because she's like, people can't even get EOS, and they don't know how to get EOS, and the whole ecosystem is a mess. And it was kind of quite interesting. That's kind of how we met. But yeah, totally, right? I think if people think that it's this difficult to get in, then how the hell do you get out? Right. And I mean, thank God we have stable coins that keep their peg like UST. I mean, too soon? Everyone knows how much I love Luna. I do feel really bad for this, right? But it's a really good lesson, right? This is the whole way that this is structured is what banks have been doing, but they tried to do it algorithmically. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but it's not a good thing. It's a really bad thing. But when that peg got thrown off, and then you watch that bank run, I mean, this is worse than the whole case in Argentina, dude. This is really bad. It could come back, it could do okay, but there's a lot of people that are losing their shirt in it. So definitely understandable that people are afraid. And what's her name, Corey? The crypto mom, I think, from the U.S. Congress, Janet, Karen, I can't remember. Anyway, she issued a statement as well, basically saying that the markets actually need regulation for stablecoins, because look what happened, right? This whole UST Luna thing threw the whole world into a panic, and you've even got fans of this saying this, right? And this is kind of I'm waiting for people who don't know about crypto to come and say, see, this is why we need to be able to regulate the stablecoin markets.
They've already started doing it in Washington, right? Almost like they had it locked and loaded.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to buy into the conspiracy theories, but this is one of those times where I'm like, right? Because instantaneously they're ready to start, yelling about regulation. And to everybody in crypto, maybe you're new, who's maybe we should get the SEC to look at this. fucking shut up. Like, just take all your face holes and close them, because it's unbelievable to me that the first thing that people think is like, oh, we need daddy to come regulate. No, right? You want to make 1,000% gains, but then you want them to basically come and regulate it. Here's what's going to happen if they regulate it. They will be the only ones making the gains forever. You're welcome, right? Yeah. We've seen this movie. It's called Wall Street. It doesn't work out well for the normal people. It just doesn't, right? So we need to allow these failures to happen. Fucking diversify, right? Like that's the whole game, right? The longer we do this, the longer we're allowed to do this in a way where we're experimenting, and the bets get bigger, and that's scary. I totally get it, right? But where we have to learn, and everybody has to learn through, honestly, financial pain, that you can't trust any one of these things. It's all fucking new, right? Like, yeah, you can do gains that are amazing, right? But if you put all your eggs in one basket, that basket can burn to the ground in an hour. Like,
well,
just,
and like
this is the way.
Yeah, we get this all the time. Like people coming in and saying like, "Oh, you changed your mind." Well, of course we changed our mind. Like we had to, right? Like, you know, yeah. and then we get people coming in and saying, "Oh, like this sucks, right? Like you can't do that. That's not freedom. That's not crypto freedom." And then the minute that the price comes down, everyone comes to you and says like, I had a really interesting conversation today. I hope you jaded over it, because like I was doing one of my little rant things in our private chat today, Corey. But like, you know, I like honestly, like I did
read all that, and every word of it was accurate.
I swear there will come a time when we get hammered by people in the ecosystem of the projects that we're building. Will we please step in and help them, because the rest of the people out there don't agree with them? The people in this ecosystem are always going to want to take the benefits and pretend that they're free until something goes wrong and blame somebody else. Right. And so this is really quite interesting, because I kind of want to go back to what Contessa was saying about normal people and being scared. Right. Like they're getting all of the bad information, but they're not understanding the power and potential of being able to do this yourself. Right. Like where else in the world can you take an NFT and put it on a social platform and sell it to people who are interested in your art? You can't do that with real world art. It doesn't work. Right. I mean, it doesn't even really work with music. I mean, it used to kind of, when you could buy CDs, but then, you know, when people started, you know, pirating music and things like that, right? And so this is what's interesting, right? I think that a lot of people are looking at the crypto market being scared and not understanding the value proposition really is to be able to put food on your table, right? Now, some of us are lucky enough that we can make money in crypto markets by doing work, like real work. Like most of us who are here, who we interviewed on this show, Corey and myself included, we spend more time working for like below subpar minimum wages than like anyone in the real world would consider doing, because it's insane. Like right? But like for artists and people like this, right? Like starving artists in the real world, they're actually able to put money on the table, right? And this is interesting. If they approach it from that standpoint, to be able to get the art out there, to be able to get the music out there, to be able to have those ownership rights, to be able to, you know, go from Australia to New York in a half a second and sell their things, right? I think that's where the value is. And that's what I like about what you're doing, is because you're educating people on the potential of using this as a business, as opposed to using this on a speculative future investment.
Exactly. And that's what makes it a little less scary. Like we're not taking your whole paycheck and we're not buying all this stuff. We're not looking at, oh my gosh, how much money can I make off of this? We're looking at, what can I give my audience? What type of value can I give to people who are looking at what I do and introducing them into crypto, into NFTs? And to me, that is kind of like a long-term thing, something that they could really grab a hold of and take it and run with it as content creators. There's so much opportunity out there. If you create courses, if you create books, if you create videos, if you enjoy writing, which you cannot get in Web 2. It's just really difficult. And it's really easy to start. Like you can start right now with what you already have.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where I think Corey was, you know, bang on golden with this idea that started well over a year ago, but like kind of started to get implemented a year ago. There's all these people out there that are playing games. There's all these people out there that want to, you know, make money on YouTube, live streaming. that love Minecraft, and they're kind of able to do that in the uplift. Like they can come in and they can own their plots. We have a great example of a plot that was done. It was decked out with all of these amazing, characters. Mario was there, Sonic was there, Superman was there. I mean, all the Pokemons were there. Brilliant little 50 by 50 plot with these giant, enormous statues that were done in perfect form. And it was great. It was one of our favorite places to go and visit. And then one day we noticed on the map that there was a big dome over the center of it.
Yeah.
And we noticed that somebody had sold it, and somebody had nuked the whole center of it.
Yeah.
And me and Corey looked at each other and we're just like, well, I guess that's their right. I'm glad we have a feature on the blog that documented it, right?
Yeah. It was actually a community plot. It was huge. It was a 250 by 250. It was basically like a quarter kilometer on a side, right? And the builds were massive, like skyscraper size, right? And really, really amazing. And yeah, somebody just bought it and came in and nuked it, and they're allowed. Like that's the thing, right? Like, was I excited about that? Like, no, it was amazing. But at the same time, like, what do you do, right? If somebody buys a piece of art, they can shred it, or if you buy one from Banksy, he can shred it for you.
But like we have a really good friend. Nathan said this. One of the first shows that I did with Nathan, he's just like, I was thinking about doing this, right? Like, I'll just create one NFT and then I'll sell it. And then I'll say like, okay, this NFT has value. And I said, well, like what would happen if somebody said, well, that's not the original, right? He's like, fuck it, man. He's like, I'll fucking destroy the original. I'll do it. I'm just going to do it now. And I haven't even made the NFT yet. Like, he's the type of person who's just really, he's one of our favorite people, one of my favorite people. He used to always show with him. But like, really interesting artist, and has like an interesting scape on it. So we'll probably do some gratitudes. Welcome, TC, Lawrence, Mark. So Lawrence says, I'm glad to hear Jimmy D say that about time spent working for less. I sometimes ask myself, really, did I just spend the last 8 hours making $15 an hour? What the fuck is wrong with me? I mean, I spent the last 8 hours making $0 an hour. So
the amount of time that I've spent volunteering in Web3 is crazy.
Yep.
It really is. And we do it because we believe in it.
Right.
We do it because we love it. And you would never, there's nothing wrong with making pizzas. There's nothing wrong with being a delivery person. Believe me, I've done it. But I would never, ever do something like that. But here I am in Web3, volunteering at DAOs, doing all of this stuff, creating content for nothing. Why do we do this?
So for me, if you zoom out, right? If you look at the annual lows, whether it's Bitcoin or anything else, fastest growing sector economically and by number of people engaged in history. This is nuts, right? And yeah, it's going down today. All this is temporary, right? Everybody knows this, right? Who's been around for more than 5 minutes? Like, is it still make your blood run cold a little bit? Yeah. But like, it's weird what you can get used to, right? Because I know this is the price for mega pumps. This is what we pay in this space. And like, this is my second, going into my second crypto winter or whatever right now. So I've been through a whole one. And that downtime, I volunteered the entire time. Like, with anyone that would have me, running communities, doing, learning any project that was really fascinating, like getting into the space. Only reason I know Jimmy, right? Only reason that the uplift ever happened in the first place, because I, was interviewing people constantly and realized that all of the pieces to build this were just sitting on the shelf waiting to be put together.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so yeah, I mean, like we call it volunteering, right? Because we're not trading time for money, in that traditional way. But the people that stay in this space and stay active and stay, producing value are going to be retired in a decade, maximum, right? Like, max. And I think for a lot of people, a lot sooner. Like, this is the stakes, right? Like, we're, at the beginning of the internet, where instead of just like needing to be an accredited investor, where unless you have $250,000, you can get stuffed anyway, right? You can start investing in this space with $1, right? in a real way and start learning and start diversifying and learning the hard lessons as well. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, so I mean, like I think that the ROI I think takes can take a little bit longer to kind of realized in concrete terms. But I mean, Contessa, I just met you. Like, I was really upset that I missed you the last time you were on because I knew you were going to be super fun. And so like that, like but the networks that we're building, these relationships and connections, this shit we can take and do anything, right? Like no matter what happens, the number of creative badasses that you'll meet in this space, like that network is quite literally invaluable. I get real fired up thinking about it. So yeah, the people that are around now in this downturn, because a lot of people are just gonna like kind of sell low and then cry and whine about it and like ask for fucking the SEC to come save them from their own stupidity. Fuck them. Good riddance, right? We've seen this movie before, right? Like every single time there's a downturn, we basically clear the decks, right? I kind of feel like, Jimmy, we cleared the decks at Uplift over the last 3 months anyway. We did it a little early, right? The only people left are just like stark raving lunatic badasses. Like that's right. Where we're at, right? And what an honor it is to be going through this time that everybody else's hair is on fire. And we're like, yeah, we're going to build and do something incredible today because we can.
I'm usually pretty nice, but like I got up this morning and like one of our team members said something that like she's great, she's awesome, right? But like she's dealing with something that like we already dealt with like a year ago, like before she got here, right? And it's like I got a little bit pissy, and like it's funny because like I walked away from the computer after getting pissy, and I was thinking to myself, Corey, I'm like, man, I miss these days when I used to be able to get pissy about like people not believing in the vision, right? Like,
it's like righteous indignation. Like, how dare you?
There's an interesting. So we've worked, on multiple projects, Corey and I, and another, flood storm that we were dealing with. I had actually left them with misses and kids, at the in-laws and come home because I had to do something in the morning. People were harping on us about something. I was in the public Telegram channel and I was doing it. I was tired and I put the phone down and I had to take a bath, and then like it beeped again and like I read somebody's comment and the comment said something about like, like really like you can't even take the time to like answer my simple question. And I had been on the line with this guy for like these guys for like an hour or something. And so, like, just the way that I am, I actually just took a photo of myself in the bathtub with, like, big grizzly hair and a big beard, and I sent it to them, and I'm like, dude, can I seriously just freaking enjoy my bath, right? A good friend of ours, he took it, he made an NFT out of it, basically, and called it the Great Wet Whale of Words, which was pretty hilarious, right?
Yeah.
We put ourselves up there on the line.
I would buy that one. I would buy that.
Right?
It's pretty scary, actually. It was pretty grisly.
Oh, that's funny. What I find in this space is that so many of the people that I'm meeting is what I call doers, right? Mm-hmm. We're not sitting around, we're not watching, we're not waiting for things to happen. We are out there making shit happen.
Right.
And these are the people that I believe that we're going to be in some sort of relationship for a long time because of that. And I can think about 10 people that I've met in the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, I would love to do this with you. I would love to do that with you. They've even revived the things that I'm doing with the Neuroverse because you're like, you know what? We were doing kind of the same thing over here. And we were kind of doing the same thing over there. So now I've invited them into my space. And we're going to see how big we can actually grow this thing now that there's more than just my head in it, right? So I'm excited. Very, very excited.
How often
yeah.
do you?
Heck yeah. Oh, so okay. This morning I'm grateful for Contessa, Louise, and Jimmy because you guys are awesome. Because you're making a morning that's already been productive and awesome. Just even that much more productive and awesome. For real. Like just yeah. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna get TC's got a gratitude up. We got a few other people watching. If you guys want to throw gratitudes up, just let me know. We'll do that. Contessa, what are you grateful for right now? Big, small, doesn't matter.
I am grateful for new friends. So grateful for them. They said it's hard to make friends as an adult. I don't find it that difficult.
Yeah, you just have to hang out where people are buying and selling magical pictures of unicorns for millions of dollars. Like, exactly. We're a different breed.
That's where you find new friends. Jimmy, what are you grateful for?
Yeah, so I'm grateful for the passion and joy of Contessa. I mean, the few times that I've met you, you're always on here, you're laughing. I mean, you remind me, there's a couple people in my life that you remind me of, and there's two of my favorite people. And I love it. Like, you're just like, honestly, like, you're contagious, right? Like, don't put that on your dating profile because like people won't get it. But like you're totally like, you're contagious. And like you came to us the first time that we did the show. And the only reason you were on is because you were completely pissed about like the situation that you had to go through. And we got on here and we laughed about it. And more people need to do that, right? And like, there's that old adage in the crypto space. It's like, don't, invest more than you can afford to lose, right? Like, I suck. Like, some of you know my story. Some of you know my multiple stories. Like, I've not made more money in the last year than I've ever had in my life, which is crazy, right? but these are all decisions that I made, right? Like, they were all things that, like, and if you're in this space and you're just trying to be the best person and you're trying to support the projects that you believe are natural, I mean, it'll be good, right? Like, we're all gonna go through tough times no matter what blockchain we're sitting on, right? Like, it's Corey made a really good point. It's like, can you remember this last time that like you just didn't care about money? Because like, when you get to that point in crypto, it's a really weird place to be, right? Because it's magical ones and zeros on the internet screen that like, most of us aren't going to cash out anyway. So I'm not sure. I think we asked you this. How long have you been in the space, Contessa? And like, what's your biggest like horror story in terms of like, did you ever get scammed, or did you ever get screwed over, or did you ever like get to the point where you were just like, oh, I'm looking at my portfolio too much, or like?
So this is a funny story. So a year ago, I've been in this space less than a year, and I've been hearing about crypto and all of this, and I tell people like I'm closer to 50 than anything else. And so I'm like, oh, crypto's a young person's game. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let the youngins do what they do. And then one day I posted, somebody explained to me what this is, like I'm 5 years old, because something in me knew that this was something that I probably could understand if I could get past all the bullshit that's out there. Mm. So someone sat me down, explained it to me, and I was like, is that it? Is this what I've been avoiding this whole time? And then I spent the next like 3 weeks deep diving, reading, consuming everything I possibly could. And I was like, oh, this shit's for me. This is absolutely what I need to be doing. And everybody's like, oh, I thought you hated crypto. I'm like, I'm allowed to change my mind. Shut up.
I'm so stealing that. I'm allowed to change my mind. Shut up. That's the name of my new country band right there. Like, this is life.
And I feel like a lot of people are in that space, right? They've heard there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of noise. Plus the way that people will slide into your inbox telling you how much money you can make in crypto. You need to do this, you need to do that. And overnight you could be a billionaire, which we all know is all bullshit, right? Because it's not going to happen overnight. But things are possible. And so maybe the way we talk about this needs to change just a little bit so that people are less afraid to start to get involved. But I have a theory that is done on purpose. I have a theory that the way people talk about crypto is done on purpose so that those who know can continue to know, and that those that don't know remain confused.
One thing I'll mention, that this is one of my favorite quotes: never ascribe to malice, which is what I would call that, what can be explained by incompetence, right? And most people are a lot less intelligent than we would like to think, right? Or let me rephrase that in a way that's probably a little bit more fair. I think it's less conscious. People are less conscious. They're making little decisions around, and sometimes the greed or the potential for gain or whatever. There's a lot of that in this space, right? And there's a lot. I mean, why a lot of us are here, and it's sort of been a privilege, frankly, to find all the people that, yes, I'm here to change my life financially, or change my life as an artist, or do all the things, but also like, I don't want to be a raging dickhead. Or like, that's like, cool, we're family. That's like level one. But actually, you know, there's one book, I can't remember the name of the title of it right now. But it was basically, the whole point of the book was, I think, around the Bush administration and, you know, the you know, lies they had about getting us into war, all that crazy stuff, right? All stuff that's kind of just feels like Monday now, the way things go. But it basically suggested that, like, the likelihood that any of these things are like a pre-described conspiracy are really low, but nobody's going to let a crisis go to waste, right? And so, like, the people taking advantage of little situations over and over and over again look like intent at scale, when really it's just, you know, they could do the right thing, but it's easier to make money, or they could do the right thing, but it's easier to kind of, you know, just kind of let people keep being ignorant, right? Like, educating people around this is frankly thankless sometimes. It requires a whole lot of patience. Not everyone has that, right? And so, I mean, and now granted, like, I'm a raging optimist, so that I also might just be completely wrong. Like, it might be an entire cabal, and we could just fucking fine. But yeah, remember this quote, and just test it. Anytime you're thinking like, oh my god, is the entire world against me, or even are these people against me? If just see if it saves that, or if it passes that test. Never ascribe to malice or people being mean or evil. What can be explained by you know, incompetence or stupidity. Or laziness, right?
It's hilarious to me that people don't really know who you are. Like it's funny, like on the back end of, you know, conversations that Corey and I have, what people assume we are like is actually the opposite. Like, Corey is a raging optimist. He finds like the best in people, but like if you annoy him, he just tells you to go away because he doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with it. He's got better things to deal with, right? I'm actually really nice on the front. But like, Corey will tell you, like, how many times have you used that quote with me? It's like, no, dude. Like,
oh yeah, no, dude. If you even remotely look like you crossed Jimmy, like, he starts giving bloody shots.
Right. But like, it's interesting that you brought that whole thing up, right? Because I do kind of agree. Like, we're not supposed to say these things, but Contessa's here, so we can say whatever the hell we want. Right?
Oh, that's the new rule.
That's the new rule. Right. So like, yeah, her halo of joy shields us from any issues that we might have.
Oh man, this is a weekly show now. That's awesome.
So no, like, but like, here's the thing, right? Like, back in the COVID days, everyone was crying, oh my god, they're using this to steal your rights, to lock you down. It's like, no, they're using this to like kill the economy, take over the world. I'm like, no, really, they're just better at capitalizing upon this shit than we are. Right? Like, that's all they do. This is what they do for a living. They saw an opportunity and they went and they did it. And I think this is what a lot of the sharks do, you know, in crypto. Now, some sharks are whales. Some whales are not sharks. A lot of times we paint them with the same basket, but there are people in this space that, you know, are trying to, you know, take advantage of other people, whether it's scamming them, whether it's, you know, getting their seed phrases, or whether it's just crashing markets and taking people's money. Now, the difference is this happens in the real world too. It just happens off the blockchain in places where you can't see it, and it's mitigated, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And like, I think like I think they actually even called this a Soros attack, right? Like there is a way in traditional markets to basically, you know, run the kind of economic game at scale to what, you know, some people did with Luna. And it was like all the evidence points to the fact that it was, you know, a single entity that basically got their hands on a you know, $100 million worth of Bitcoin, borrowed it, in fact, right? And then destroyed Luna. Now, my personal take is, if it can be destroyed, it should be, right? Like, and that's the one thing they don't tell you about in Wall Street, is that like something like this will happen in Wall Street and they'll just let it keep happening, right? Like, like they'll kind of do a regulation or whatever, but then all you really need to do is find a way around the regulation, and then it becomes this giant mess. We have an opportunity to do something better this time. It's not going to not have the same challenges. It will, right? Like that, like this kind of thing will be something that can happen in this, but we can create technologically and through better governance, I believe anyway. Again, raging optimist, I could be wrong with this, but like, this is the opportunity, right? To see those potentials for same challenges and make it so anti-fragile that it's just not possible for those things to happen, right? Like we can bake you know, mathematical governance into these systems to make those kinds of things dramatically less likely, I think.
Again, I'm in a salty
Maybe
mood today, so I'm going to point this out as well. You know, like some people have been being like, oh, you know, like Corey, he's got too much power. He's going to have too many tokens. It's funny because like on the back end, Corey's a raging optimist, and our good friend Chris Tuttle has said to me multiple times over the last 3 weeks, I know this is really going to be painful for you, Jimmy, because you're going to lose the control. It just fucking cracks me up how wrong people on the outside have got this shit. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
hey,
but so I want to ask, you know, Contessa, because
don't say anything very interesting. I'm gonna go get more coffee. So like keep it like, which I know I'm like this is like an actual challenge, but like just like be boring for 5 minutes.
Okay, well I'll delete that back. So actually, Corey, you know, he went off coffee for a while and he felt great. Well, after he felt horrible because he had these withdrawal symptoms, but now he's back on the coffee because you know we're in the bootstrapping phases of building stuff. We're port over to Ethereum. So I was gonna ask you like the most interesting question, but let's just keep the dating questions until Corey comes back because like I want to save those because this is what like I've been excited about the show. I was with my missus today, right? Like we were talking and I'm like, yeah, tonight's gonna be a fun show. You know, this is an older lady that I met a couple weeks ago and like she mailed me and she's got like some cool dating stories for us and like I'm super excited. She looks at me, she's like, you've told me that like 10 times in the last 24 hours. What like you told me that? I'm like, I know, I'm excited. So. But yeah, so people who might have missed it the first time, just give us a brief rundown of, we've already talked about your project, but just like, who are you outside of the crypto space? And don't go into dating, save the dating for Corey, but who are you? Like, where did you come from, right? You said you'd only been in this for a year, and you're out there, you're trying to promote NFT people to get into crypto, but where does that connection come from? What were you doing before you got into crypto?
I am, so the cute term is a multi-hyphenate, which really means I'm a jack of all trades, right? I am neurodivergent, so I have ADHD, so I'm like here and I'm here and I'm here and I'm here and I'm here. Whatever gets that dopamine going, that's what I want to do and that's what I want to be involved with. But I've told like my origin story 1,000 times and you've never heard it. So, quick version, 16 years old, got pregnant, selfish little teenager, ended up having a child that has medical needs, medically fragile, completely changed my entire life around caring for this little boy who needed me. And so that's when I went into advocacy work. So I did advocacy work for individuals with disabilities, in and out, had a hard time holding on to a job because I'm in therapy with them, I'm at doctor's offices with them, I'm doing all this other stuff to make sure that my little kid's okay. And so it was hard to find a job because he had behavioral issues. And so I was a stripper for many years. Yeah.
Corey said not to say anything interesting. This is the best part. Okay, let's go back. So you were a stripper for many years. I like it. All right, sweet.
In Atlanta.
Okay, all right, great.
Yes. And so I did that for many years. Trying to, find work, trying to do this. And so I've been an entrepreneur on and off, just trying to make things happen. I'm not a great motivational speaker because I don't like public speaking. Like I love doing this, but putting me on the stage and getting me to talk, absolutely not. But I love teaching and showing people how to do things and bringing out the best in people. Even though sometimes if you actually catch me online, I look like I don't like people.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're on like you're awesome with that. So I'll give Corey the rundown. I tried to keep it really boring and get the backstory of her before she got into crypto. And this is a 3-point standard. A, she was a bratty little 16-year-old that ended up having a child who had medical needs. B, she became a stripper to pay for those medical needs. And C, Lawrence Blake is impressed with you before, but now even more so because Contessa is awesome. That's our rundown. It's really quite.
I'll tell you right now, if I had ever been hot enough to be a stripper, I would have been. Instead, like all I can do is learn how to play guitar, and honestly, like People who play guitar for a living are just strippers who keep their clothes on.
Right.
Right. I mean, playing guitar.
Or sometimes don't keep their clothes on.
With your dad bod. I mean, that's hot right now. Dad bod.
Wow, this is escalating quickly. And then Corey just took his clothes off. Things got really weird. That's not gonna happen. Nobody needs that.
This is
what were we
kind of
talking
like
about
we,
before?
well, no, this is how we kind of got into. This is what we got into at the end of the last show. And this is what I like Contessa, because she's kind of an open book, and I like this. And so we just got into this conversation last time about what it's like to be dating as a middle-aged woman in America. And some of the things that she was saying were really quite fascinating to me, because like I come from a culture that actually embraces sexuality, which is really bizarre. It's also the culture that potentially has the least sex in the world among young people, because it comes with so many standards that they have to break. So like it's quite fun. Not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but my missus, she's a dancer, and like she went to check out something, at dance clubs, and it happened to be a strip bar, which was pretty funny, because she didn't even know when she walked in there. Right. And I mean, we watch movies or videos about this type of stuff, but a lot of places in the States or in Canada were very restricted and very close. I mean, Corey, did you know that one of the least sexually active places in Canada is Ontario? I didn't know that. I mean, I just found that
Ontario.
out.
That checks out.
Not in 20 years, dude. Like I left 20 years ago, right? Like I'm like,
yeah, I'm from Western and Northern Canada, and we have nothing good to say about Ontario. So that's just like, Ontario's just English speaking Quebec as far as I'm concerned.
So the last time we left off with Contessa, she was telling us about the things that men should not say when they show up for a blind date.
Okay.
And I really like this. So now apparently she has a few dating stories that she's going to share with us, and I just want to dive into this. And I honestly, Contessa, we don't have to talk about it today, but if you do that thing, I will buy them all.
I am going to do the thing. I've been thinking about nonstop was the thing.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely going to do it.
So if this is NFTs to sell to nerds so that they don't fuck up dating, I'd like to personally back this.
Right.
Not like I'm happily married. I'm never gonna need it, but I girlfriends are goddamn.
And I'm gonna help Contessa promote the hell out of this. Partially because I know that she could pull it off, and partially because it was my 3:00 in the morning. I'm too you can't type on my phone. Got to sit down on my computer idea. But go into it. Tell us some dating stories, because I want to hear these, and I think these are going to be fun to play along.
So
because it's a bear market, so let's get bearish.
Because of the life I live, I'm extremely busy. I don't go out that much, get out of the house to meet people. So I'm doing online dating. I don't suggest it. 0 out of 5 stars, but you kind of use the tools that you have, right? And so to me, the worst dating site is POF, or Plenty of Fish. And I hesitantly got on this site because I know that the dudes here are the type of dudes who will get my pH balance off. I'm guaranteed to catch something from one of these guys on this app if I ever decide to meet them. It's just you already know, skin crawling, bottom of the barrel type dudes. But I'm on all these other sites, and it's about the same type of dude anyway, right? You need to make a dating story NFT. That's a great idea.
Yeah, legit. And actually, TC, we were talking about even doing them for the articles and just having them one-on-ones. But this people started to play with regular content, serialized content coming out as NFTs. I mean, long term, that's going to win, right? You're going to learn so much about that. Anyway, I'll start nerding up. Continue. Sorry.
No, no problem. So I get on there. Within 24 hours, I have all of these messages. Most of them, they don't even have a profile pic. It's just the worst ones are hey, you like white dudes? And I'm like,
oh, man.
I'm really? It gets that bad. And then you have the dick pics and all of those that
Sweet
pop up.
Jesus.
And so you have to sort through all of this. Hey, Ma, you looking sexy. And these are from guys that are like in their 50s and 60s. So there's not the 23-year-olds that are doing this. These are 50 and 60-year-old men who are in my inbox on these apps saying this ridiculous stuff, thinking that they're going to get a response. So I'm sorting through all of this, and I come across one pretty decent profile pic, actually filled out his profile information instead of just ask me. No, I'm not asking.
Like, can you imagine, like, the bar is so low that, like, just I filled out this form correctly. Like, well, you're a 9 out of 10 right out the
right,
back.
that was like, yes, thank you, one person who filled out the form. So
Wow.
he sends me a message. I send a message back. Yada yada yada. Doesn't say anything sexual. Doesn't say anything crazy. And so we go out. Make an appointment to go out. I'm gonna meet him at the restaurant. Go to the restaurant, have a really nice day, ask me to come back to his place. And I was like, no, I'm going to go back home. And I go back home because I already know that if I go back to his place, I'm never seeing this dude again ever in life, right? And I want a second date because I need for you to spend more money on me. So we make plans. Here's the best part. So we make plans. I make plans to go to the farmer's market. Very easy, very simple. He pulls up at my place in a 75 Delta convertible. I don't know if you know much about old cars, but this car is huge and beautiful, restored, everything. My dad was like, you were barely walking when this car came out. So we go there, we have a really good time. But here's the funny part. So I posted the picture of the car on Facebook, and my friends who are clowns say, show me you have a sugar daddy without showing me you have a sugar daddy. And I was like, if only you knew that this daddy doesn't have any sugar. Oh my gosh. And so, I mean, he's a decent guy or whatever, but definitely not the dude for me. Like him though, love his car, but definitely not. So the only decent guy that I could find is still not going to work out.
I like it, so this is your problem. Like, I'll be honest. You have one problem with dating, and that's that you can't be yourself. Because you told me the last time you were on the show that, like, you're not even going to breach the topics of what you do with crypto. And
no, absolutely not.
Like, what do you do? Oh, I get people to do NFTs and like I mean, for a 15-minute meetup or whatever, right? Like, it must be really difficult. And I mean, we are really blessed in this space, right? Like, I've never actually given Corey a hug, which should be probably a crime. Like, I mean, if Dostoevsky was around, he'd contact Putin and we'd both be thrown in jail.
That got really literarily Russian and then violently political in a geopolitical sense in one sentence. That
right.
was
I told you I'm a little bit salty today. I don't know why. I'm trying to rein it back.
Have you seen the price of wax, Jimmy?
I think you have every right to be salty this morning, but no, I can't talk about the things that I love with these people because they're not even going to be around in 2 weeks. They're not. They don't even get to experience the full. You know me better than this dude does. And I've only been on this show twice because I can be me.
Well, if I'm ever picking you up, I'm picking you up in a Mitsubishi Delica.
100%. Like when you come to shitcoin next year, Contessa, like that's like we're taking notes. We'll pick you up at the airport in the most ridiculous convertible ever seen by anyone. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I'll get NFTs. Yeah, so like this is like you would think that the incentive structure. Sorry that I take this kind of in a sort of economics nerd direction, but like the incentive structure would suggest, I would think, as apparently a crazy person, that you'd want to not suck at this. You
would think
you'd like. Well, I tried this; it didn't work, and I mean, like I think, and again, my experience with this is very small, but I seem to get the impression that the kind of go-to move for, again, I don't want to. It's not malice. It's deep incompetence. Is they'll just blame women. They're fucking phoning it in. They've got all the, they're about as interesting as paint drying on the back of a dead frog. Like, it's not amazing, but no, it's probably the girl's fault, right?
So it's always our fault. We're gold diggers, we just want to use them for their money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, only thing you have on your dating profile is the picture of, some food that you decided to grill, and I'm laid back. And that's all I know about you. But you expect me to be interested in you and to start the conversation and to keep the conversation going. When anytime I ask you a question, all I get is a one-word answer, but it's my fault.
Yeah.
I can't even get you to plan a date, but it's the women's fault. The bar is so low that these guys on these dating apps think that all they have to do is show up, and that is enough.
I wonder if that works enough that it sort of maintains the dumb cycle.
It does. I think it does. I think that's why it happens, because there's a lot of women on there that, hey,
the site's called Plenty of Fish in this Plenty of Fish, right? It's automatic. Like, if this isn't easy, I'll just go to where it is.
Like, how much is enough, really? Like, looking at it from a Japanese perspective, like, it's weird because they have these things called nanta. Like, it gets really weird because I'm gonna blow your mind here. Like, people will walk along the street and like just talk to people. Right, like guys will walk along the street and just talk to girls, right? And like they'll just like follow them for like a block and talk to them. And Japanese women sometimes like they won't respond, and they'll just circle back and keep doing that night after night after night after night, right? And like probably at times they probably get lucky at certain times, right? Like, because I mean we're kind of a sexually deprived culture here, depending on who you are, right? And so. But what's interesting is this is escalated to like a whole comedy series where they call it like there's this one move called kabe don, right? And kabe means wall, and don means you hit your fist on the wall, and like so you can like hit your fist on the wall like above the girl that you're trying to pick up, and like that's a move that's supposed to work because it shows the authoritarian peacocking thing. It gets like really weird, right? But to be fair, I mean there's also love hotels on every other corner here. It's great because that's a whole thing that Americans will never understand. And likewise, on the flip side of that, having your own house when you're 20 is a whole thing Japanese will never understand, right? There's both sides to the same parallel, right? But like I like it, like I'll repeat what I said at our first message, right? I always think this is quite interesting. I know people who think that it's always the women's fault because they just don't care. They should be more polite. They should listen. They should be women in their, womanly duties when they're sitting there. The whole, oh my God, can you believe it? She didn't even, put makeup on before I woke up, and then get back into bed an hour later. And these guys are sitting around their houses with like ice cream stains on their shirt. So it's a really interesting world that we live in, right? I struggle to find balance. I'm probably gonna get myself close to shot when I come back to America because I don't know how to be quiet about it. But it's like I'm all for like freedom of rights, right? And like, Corey knows this, and you might not know this about Corey, but we both have excellent partners. I mean, we lucked out in the partner department.
Yeah, it's for reals. Again, I learned how to play guitar, so I'm batting way out of my league. That's the truth.
I would be happy if a guy would get on and play guitar for me. Like that would be something.
Yeah, 100%.
And this whole thing about what do you bring to the table? I need for you to have something more than just be a man. Like, can you have a personality?
Right. So every time you say that, obviously it must be true, right? Like, I wonder if like the second that there is a Web3, sort of, a Web3 mingle or fucking some shit, right? Like the base point is you're a lunatic who thinks this is a good idea. Like that's an awesome base layer, right? Like that's like at the very least, you're out here with the rest of us, in a brave new world. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to change the topic, but I want a chance here, so I want to show off. I was going to show you guys this anyway.
Hi, Chan.
So the Meta Art Club is like these guys are doing there's an amazing group out of Hong Kong, 35 artists, over 100 pieces of art they're launching as NFTs. They're on the front page of OpenSea right now, and for 5 days they're connected to Vogue. These guys are a big fucking deal. So that was my meeting right before this, while I was a few seconds late. And of course, Chan, spelt Trang, and you say Chan. I'm still getting used to that. Set that up. She's like an ultra networker. She's a part of the Uplift team, and invited us into this accelerator for a new coin called New Moon that's going to be amazing. Blah blah blah. Right, lots of stuff. Anyway, so she gets me on a stream with these guys, and we built this yesterday to kind of show them what's possible. Right, like we're building on Ethereum pretty soon. I was hoping that they would be interested in having like an embassy plot on our new map up there to kind of show people what's possible, right? Like, and they said yes instantaneously because I showed them this, and they were already really excited. Like, just talk about an amazing group of people.
Yeah, I want to put Cotessa in the mix too. I think you'd be great.
Yeah, that's a fun idea. Right. So if you point your phone at this, it takes you to this website.
Nice.
QR code, of course, right? They're OpenSea over here. These numbers are all low compared to what they were at yesterday. But anyway, yeah, we were showing them this stuff just as a sort of proof of concept what you can do. I love this one.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the Flower Girls NFTs. Those are really fun too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to figure out a way to plug your network into our network and our network into your network, Contessa, because I know that you do a lot of things with artists, and I think it would be super fun.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. Anytime we can get on the phone, chat, whatever, we can discuss and see if we can do some shit together. Like
maybe even bring some of it, like the next time you come on the channel, because once you've been here twice, you know that you're here for life, right?
Oh, I'm family! Yay!
But I mean, ask Austin Linney, he knows. He can't get out now.
Yep.
He was like, dude, you know what our next Awesome Linney show is going to be, by the way?
No.
It's going to be the whole uplifting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wanted us to do that. We should probably let them know.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so this is what happens when me and Corey get together. We make plans that nobody knows about, and then we get yelled at later.
And they go really well.
But I think this would be really fun. Like, if you have, sometimes this doesn't work, right? Because not everyone's like you and wants to show their face on camera. But like, if you have some of the people that are involved in your network that want to come on and talk about their art and NFTs and like, I would love to like host. Corey and I used to do these roundtables, but I would love to like host one with like some of your crew.
Yeah, with you.
On.
Yeah, like host a panel of artists and you come in and kind of guest host with us. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get that together. That would be perfect.
Yeah, anytime you're free, like hook us up and we'll push those art out, and like we can give them a tour of the Uplift. Like Corey said, all those QR codes work. They go directly to their NFT sell sites.
Yep.
I'm working with an artist right now because she was like, I need to learn about NFTs. And I was like, absolutely. And her art is amazing. I have a piece of her art in my house too. And so I'm really excited about this. And so, yeah, that's definitely somebody we can bring on. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful. This is exciting. Yeah, Corey, I'm so glad I had a chance to meet you today.
Yeah, for real. I'm sorry I missed the first one. I'm really excited that I knew I had to not miss this. So, yeehaw. Yeah, no, this is good cake.
So, but before we go, I want to know, like, you actually kind of like did something really cool. You got like something that happened with your business that was kind of monumental in the last couple of weeks, right?
You have mentioned that in the beginning, and because everything I do is like I just do it. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You put out like you got grant funding or something. I thought from somebody. There was a tweet that you put out a couple weeks ago that said that you had passed some. Maybe I'll dig it up and I'll send it to you, and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that I didn't even think it was a big deal."
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I remember you being really excited about it on Twitter, and
I'm sure
so
I was.
I'll find it later. But anyway, everybody knows I just talk shit. I mean, that's
like I said, with me and my ADHD, it's like, oh, that was like so last week. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's no big deal. But
no, but I think what you do is a big deal. Check out the link below. Follow Contessa on Twitter.
Yes. Follow me. I love new friends. I really do. I enjoy meeting new people. If you want me to come on your show and run my mouth, I'd love to do that too.
Honestly, you can have your own show on our channel if you want it. You're that cool.
Really?
Yeah, Contessa, seconded instantaneously.
With a good time.
Did you just use my line? I said we were best friends before, but now like we might have to sign papers on this because that's like anyone who says don't threaten me with a good time. I'm like, all right, well, we're besties now. No, we've done this with a few people, Contessa, and I think the entire community would completely and totally agree. Like if you want to take a time slot and do a weekly show with artists or whatever the fuck you want, honestly, does not matter at all on this channel. It's yours right now. Done.
Yay! I would love that, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like Corey and I won't even be here. It'll just be you and artists, or you and Contessa and friends. We're happy to come and join you whenever, but like this will be your thing.
That's my game plan.
The thing about me, and people ask me like, if I was going to talk about my personality and what it's like, I have like a trickster personality, so I'm like Loki, right?
Go on.
I seem like this really nice, sweet, innocent person. Ha ha ha. I'm not at all.
All right.
You never know what I'm going to do next.
Well, sweet.
TC's here, and he's going to get pissy at us if we don't do this. But last time you were on the show, I think we showed you the Star Wars gallery.
Yes.
And I also think we showed you the rocket gallery.
Yes.
So what do you got, Corey? What's your pick for today? What gallery do you want to showcase? Any ideas?
Maybe
this one's
we haven't seen in a hot minute, right? Like the.
Well, so yeah. All right. So tomorrow, Corey's doing this thing where he's hanging out with friends and getting some individual time, which I think he definitely needs. And tomorrow you have one of our favorite people in the whole UpLift world with you. And she recently did a new release. She's been working on this kind of very bizarre art series with her husband or her, whoever. And it's, has to do with sugar, and they built a hotel around it. And he did the music. It's a little bit, niche, but I love it because she's awesome. So let's play that one because this is really fun. You get on a horse, you ride up to the top of the tower, and then you jump off. And on the way up, you see all of the art of photos.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I had a conversation with Mitzi already, actually.
Sorry, maybe
I clean the schedule. Yeah, no, I saw it on there, but I already had that conversation with her. And just super amazing human being. Yeah, like that. I basically it's set up so that I need to walk off about 50 pounds. So I'm doing a couple of meetings a day where I'm just talking to one person for 45 minutes or whatever, right? So focusing on kind of the core team because I've never actually talked to Dennis for an hour, Jimmy, like ever, right? He's like our design guy. He's a freaking rock star, and I'd never just spent that time. Realized that 5 minutes into our conversation this morning, and sort of we invented an entire Fiat Rails game mechanic by the end of the hour because that's fucking Dennis. Basically, he's like an idea factory. But yeah, so that conversation I had with Mitzi was just nuts. Like they're incredible, and I want to open these up to once I make sure that the core team has booked some time because it really need to make sure we get to all connect on that level. I'm legitimately publishing this link live to everyone. So anybody who wants to come and talk to me for anything, about anything, is going to be able to and the conversations so far have just been so freaking good that it fuels my soul. Anyway, sorry, rock and roll. Mitzi
No, but like I just want to say, like Mitzi is a great example of doing what you're trying to empower artists to do. Because she's been in the uplift, like grinding like crazy. I mean, she's one of the most amazing people. We've got a lot of amazing people. She's one of the most amazing people running events, doing her own thing, like figuring out a way to like make NFTs a lifestyle. So yeah, this is Mitzi and her husband, and I mean, this is old. They've done a lot since. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the dropping of horses.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very-
That song is so weird, and I like it more every time I hear it.
I'm a big weirdo, so I love it too.
There you go. All right.
Yeah,
Done.
her and her husband make hotels in the uplift, and they've got like 4 or 5. And
Yeah.
that's
You
not
know,
even a hotel.
they're freaking running around the country in an RV doing all this stuff.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah. They're like, I knew they were cool, but it's like, oh man, they're like really cool.
Super cool.
Hey, what random fact, Contessa Louise? I actually lived in a camperized bus in the Canadian Arctic for 4 years.
really? In
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Arctic?
Yeah, that's where I was born. That's why I live in Miami now, because fuck, that's dumb. Yeah, Miami's better. I can't even look at snow on TV and not feel kind of shitty about it.
I don't blame you. Like, my family's originally from Illinois and close to Chicago, and that snow is horrific.
Yeah, so for about 2 months out of the year, you get what Yellowknife gets where I'm from for about 9 months out of the year.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's the appropriate response. Indeed.
Oh, this has been great. It's like I love Jimmy, and now I love Corey too, and I feel like I'm part of the family now.
Yeah.
And
That's gonna be your opening line the next time you meet somebody for a blind date. Hey, I love Jimmy and I love Corey too. This is them now.
You should
Fucking outdo them.
honestly,
right?
like before anyone goes on a blind date with you, they should have to watch this show. And if you're not fucking interesting, like just let anyone know. Like, I'm actually gonna let my friends know how you do. Right. So like, step up your game, bring something funny, or like Corey's just gonna make fun of you for an hour.
yes, you know what? I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to be like, before I even talk to you, you're going to have to tell me a joke.
Yeah.
I need to know you have some sort of personality.
Right.
And yes, I should be on here weekly. I mean, I agree with that 100%.
I mean, the people have spoken. I mean, we're only here to serve the people. Yeah, I mean, we've got, like, just book it up. That's something that Austin started doing. It's like the second after a show with Austin, he'd hit the link, the Calendly link again, and just book next week.
He does it when he's on the show, man. It's like, what are you doing? You're not paying attention. It's like, I'm booking for next month.
I don't blame him at all.
He's a planner. He's a planner.
Yeah. Part of my
thanks for joining us. I think tomorrow we'll be back. It's an irregular time. I believe we have the Skull Club at maybe 1 p.m. I think.
It's on my new time.
Yeah, it's on your new time. Corey's doing a solo show at 1 p.m. Because I have to sleep sometimes. I'll probably still be awake and lurking in the comments, but it's way too late for me to be on
You need
there.
to start sleeping, dude. Come on.
Maybe I'll have
But I got like 3 months that I have to do stuff. Anyway, and I'm actually doing my own solo show as well on this channel, which will target Asian times and be early in the morning, for the Australians and the East Asian people. So definitely like book those out. But we're gonna try to keep a time schedule between 8 a.m. Eastern Standard and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard for show start times. It might fluctuate a little bit here and there depending upon who it is. So if you're interested in coming on and hanging out and showing us your builds and talking about the projects that you're associated with, or even interested in introducing us to projects on ETH, Corey, we're doing this thing where we're going to give a bunch more free shit away, right?
No, what do you mean?
Like we're
I'm having a Contessa moment. What are you talking about?
We're gonna build a new world and we're gonna do people plots.
Oh yeah, no. Any Ethereum projects? I've got 97 left, and I have I had a good feeling I was going to be able to do this in the time allotted. And the community's been helping out. Like Jen, who works with us, introduced us to King Pickle yesterday. So yeah, if anyone knows any projects on Ethereum that would make good neighbors that we want to have around forever,
right?
I want to meet them. Right, we want to have them on this show. We want to show them our metaverse. And let them know that if they're super excited about it, that we can give them a piece of land as an embassy, where their community can kind of gather and showcase what they're doing in this space. If they're not excited, fuck you. Just kidding.
And to put it in Contessa terms, you actually have to have an NFT line if you want to say that you get an embassy because you're NFTs. You can't just show up and say, "Hey, yeah, I like NFTs." We're not giving you a plot.
Yeah, no. You need you need to have a pretty significant.
But it's not only NFTs. It could be projects. It could be exchanges.
Right. Well, yeah,
it could be
exactly.
Whatever you want, right? But we want to gift these out to people who are making a difference across the ecosystem. We want to gift these out to people who you'll get to a second date with, right? That's what.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, Chan is talking about, we might be talking to freaking Ape Swap. They don't have any NFTs, but they're allowed to have an embassy if they want one.
Of course, right? Yeah. If you're making a difference in the world, it doesn't I'm sorry. It's late at night, but thank you for joining us, Contessa. We'll see you soon. Or we'll watch you soon, depending on how this goes. You guys don't go anywhere, or maybe you have to, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be here after we do this cool little whiz bang thing that our awesome friend Smiley put together.